This week we taught chapter 2 is called How Does It Work? And now, how does it work? All these are quotes from the Science of Minds textbook. I want to go back and review just a little bit from last week, for those of you who weren't here, and for those of you who need a reminder. The entire problem of limitation, evil, suffering, and uncertainty is not God ordained. Yay! Isn't that great? It's not God ordained that we have a hard time. It's personal. I certainly give it all kinds of energy, but it's not a God-ordained thing. But it's the result of ignorance. Ignorance is nothing more than ignoring the laws, ignoring spiritual laws, ignoring scientific laws. You try to ignore a scientific or spiritual law, chances are you're going to hurt, right? All right, our teaching is not a special revelation of any individual. It is the culmination of all revelations. And it continues to grow. It continues to grow. And what I love about it continuing to grow is this. We're open at the top. We don't have a text in its form. We continue to have a book and other books, and authors keep creating books, and other speakers keep speaking, and things motivate us, and people come out of anywhere with an idea that can motivate us to become a higher and a more expressive individual. Are you with me? So we're not just teaching something finite. We're infinite in its expansion that we allow everything to come forward, which is why we say we honor all religions. I find so much in different religions that I love to teach and actually apply and put into our teaching here without me citing it for you, but just allowing you to say this is the free flow of spiritual information. Are you with me? Yes. All right, so chapter 2. Everyone, consciously or unconsciously, is seeking a relationship with God. Do you believe that to be true? Yes. Okay, sometimes it's a challenge to understand the unconscious seeking person. But if you think about this, if we're all expressions of God, and God can only express by means of us, then it's incumbent upon us to realize that we are expressing a relationship with this infinite energy. You can call it God, you can call it whatever you want to call it. It's being in relationship to our finances. It's being in relationship to our health. It's being in relationship to our relationships. It's being in relationship to our creativity. That's what I'm talking about here. We are always seeking, consciously or unconsciously, to express this relationship with this energy. Are you following? It's important to recognize that because some people feel they need to label something in order for it to happen. We don't label it. It is just a relationship. You and I, each person here, each person out there, everything living and not living is in relationship to this energy, to this expression. All right? Keep going. The study of life and the nature of the law, governed and directed by thought, always conscious that we live in a spiritual universe, that God is in, through, around, and for us. 3 last words. Say them, please.
And for us.
Do you believe that?
Yes.
Sometimes we don't. Come on. Seriously? Sometimes we look out at the world condition and say, how the hell is this for us? How is this for me? And I get into an argumentative state and I say, this can't possibly be for us when it looks like there's things in chaos. Does that make sense? Yeah. And around the world, not just here, but everywhere, there are people suffering everywhere. How could that possibly be for us? Has anyone ever had that dilemma? Yeah. So it's easy to say, hey, is God for us? Yes. But then in the back of your mind, you're going, but then how do you explain this? How do you explain that? How do you put together a series of thoughts that say, yeah, this power and this energy is for us, but there's this stuff going on outside that doesn't feel too good. And I have to remember this. If everything is for us and everything is operating, everyone and everything is operating to their highest level of vibration, they may not be vibrating on my level. That doesn't mean they're wrong and I'm right. It just means they're operating on a lower vibrational level. And so our job is to see that everything, all the vibrations are working to a greater good, but some people are not going to keep pace with your vibration. Good thing, right? Some people are, okay, but understand, this is the study of law and understanding that there is a universe that is for us Even though there are times I cannot explain why things are happening, I have to know that there is some sort of an energy being created on some level, and as I go on in my talk today, you're going to find out how we shift that energy, all right? Next thing, I love Dr. Holmes. This is one of my favorite quotes. We shall find a better God when we shall have arrived at a higher standard for ourselves. Think about that. We'll find a better God. I'll find a better God when I start aligning with the God that I know within myself and stop doing half the crap I do in my mind. Does that make sense? Yes. I just set the bar higher for myself. I have to allow myself to know that when I have a higher standard for myself, and now it appears that higher standard for man, he's not pointing the finger at someone else. He's pointing the finger at each one of us. So it's pointing, I'm going to arrive at a higher relationship when I have a higher standard for myself. And so it's perfect timing that Dale was talking about those 4 pillars. So on that piece of paper that you were given, where is your standard for these 4 things? For these 4 pillars of your spiritual experience, your relationship, your health, your finances, your creativity. Where is your bar? Have you raised your bar this year, or have you not gone through an analysis program for years, for decades, because you're like, I'm retired, I don't need to think about that now. No, you do. Because the world keeps moving. You have to go through this process. You can't ignore the fact that one needs to continually evaluate and reevaluate the direction that they're going. The second we stop doing that is the second that our old subconscious patterns, which are usually steeped in some sort of fear, start to rear their ugly head and things begin to fall apart in our life. Anybody relate to that? Okay. If God is to interpret itself to us, it must interpret itself through us. We are its only expression. How else could this universe express itself if it weren't for all of us and everything that's around us? The beauty, the mountains, whatever. Each individual. I love Cheryl. Your prayer was perfect today. You are necessary. You are necessary. You were brought into this experience to be a necessary part of the expression of God. Have you ever wondered what that means? Have you ever really taken that into account, or is it just I'm trying to live my life? Have you ever taken into the responsibility, the overwhelming feeling of, wait a minute, I was brought here to express that? We can't even grasp that idea. It's hard for us to grasp because some of us, myself included at times, we're just trying to get through the day, get through the week, get through the season, get through summer, whatever that is, right? Just get through it. And many times in life, we're just trying to get through. To what? To what end? If it's going to express by means of us, we better step up our game. Step up your game with succinct action. Next thing, in our ignorance of the truth, we have misused the highest power we possess. In our ignorance, in our ignoring of the truth, we suffer. Misuse equals suffering. Anyone here ever suffer? Well, ask your partner, because I'm sure they have. They've definitely suffered through some of your stuff. I know, they're all looking at each other going, no, I haven't. Never. I've never caused anyone to suffer. Oh my God. Really? No, we all have. Go to confession. I'm Joe, and some of my actions over my life have caused pain to other people and pain to myself. I have misused my power at times and affected people wrongly and myself as a result. When I come into that responsibility, the accountability of my actions, taking this, then I have to realize I've been ignoring the truth of my being. The truth of my being has always been in the attributes of God. I am joy, I am power, I am light, I am beauty, I am wisdom, I am truth. That's who I am. When I forget who I am, I misuse this power and I struggle, and usually I bring people with me. Make sense? Spirit works for us by working through us, as us is us. okay? You're it. We're it. That's the only way it can work, by means of that person sitting in this chair. You're it. That's an awesome responsibility. When you post on social media, do you think about that? That you are the expression of spirit in action? No. Sometimes. When you're expressing yourself, you're expressing it all the time. Thank you, Annie. So it is not a question of its willingness nor of its ability. It's entirely a question of my own receptivity. I was sharing with the earlier service. Is everyone here receptive? Yeah, I'm not. I say I am, but as soon as I say I am, there's a part of me that resists my receptivity because it requires me to do things I really don't want to do. Let me give you an example. I go to Orange Theory. Do you know what Orange Theory is? Yeah, it's that little workout facility where they put you through paces like you're going to, like, the army. And sometimes it feels like it. And my instructor was in the first service, and I said, sometimes I have a receptivity to my good health. Of course I'm going to say that until I have to show up to that class. And then there's resistance because I'm like, oh, man, God, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to go in there, I'm going to sweat everywhere, and I'm going to get sore. I don't want to move my knees, and oh my, I run through this inventory. Even though I say I'm receptive to my health, I run through an inventory as to why there's resistance. In fact, I was telling the class, you have to cancel 8 hours in advance or they charge you for the class. So I will set my alarm for the middle of the night to go off and to do this self-evaluation. It's like, okay, I've got 10 more minutes to cancel before they're going to cancel, before I'm going to get this class. Am I really receptive? Am I really receptive or am I resistant? See, we all want to say we're receptive because that's the thing you're supposed to say. Yeah, I'm receptive to loving relationships, but I'm not going to have one. Hell no, man. Are you kidding? That's too much work. But I'm receptive to it. No, you're not. So it's not a question of the universe's willingness, and it's my receptivity and lack of resistance. And that's going to be the biggest part. Recognizing our resistance even though we say we're receptive. Are you with me? Ignorance of the law excuses no one from its effects. The approach should be direct and it should be specific. Ignoring spiritual laws doesn't excuse you from the effect. Just like ignoring the laws of electricity. You ignore the laws of electricity, it will remind you if you use it improperly. It doesn't excuse you from its effects, so you have to learn how to use it. The same thing happens in our life. You are the sum total of all your thoughts, intentions, and prayers right now. Have you used it properly? Pretty good. So, in other areas, not so good. Am I right? The approach should be direct and it should be specific. That's why Laura is going to be teaching a visioning class, because if you don't know how to be specific, many people were trained, you don't ask God for something. If God wants you to have it, you'll have it. Anybody? Yeah, wrong. It's the Father's good pleasure to give and give abundantly. Ask and ye shall receive. Doesn't say wait. Doesn't say hope. Doesn't say bargain. Doesn't say, hey, roll the dice, God, on my behalf. It says ask. And that was a hard thing for me to come over in this religion, in this philosophy. That was a really hard thing, even though I was raised in a metaphysical church. Still, it was really hard for me to claim your good, stake your claim, tell God what you want. I thought, how that's so spiritually arrogant. How could I have this conversation with God and say, this is what I want? Deliver it. I'm like, how could I do? I'm just Joe. But then you come to realize I've been using that incorrectly because I keep asking for less than what I want and getting it. I tell all my first-year classes, I took Science of Mind 100, sat right where you're sitting. And at my first-year class, I'd been off. I quit my job when Carly was born, and it was about 18 months in. I needed to go back to work. We needed the money. And so in the margin of my notes, in my Science of Mind notes, 100, every class, I put, all we needed was $30,000. So I put job, $30,000, medical benefits, and other benefits, right? Just job, 30,000, job, 30,000, every class. So when I got offered the job, how much did they offer to pay me?
30,000.
Why didn't I put an additional 0 after that? Why? You know why? Because that's all I thought I was worth. And it's all I thought I needed, so we never got extra vacation money. We just got enough money to pay the mortgage. See, don't pray for what you need. Pray for what you want and be specific, because you'll get what you pray for. So I got 30 when I should have put, I don't know, who knows what number? Why did I not value myself with a greater number? Why did I limit my good to that? Because in my mind, that was all I needed. So don't pray for what you need, because you'll get your needs met. Your needs are going to be met. Pray for what you desire. And let the universe make it an opulent, joyful experience for you. Don't limit yourself by just your needs. I want more than my needs met. I want my wants. And they're many. Right? We must accustom ourselves to the concept of the impersonalness of the law, the availability of the law, and the mechanical accuracy of the law. When I said 30, the universe said, you shall have 30. What the hell? Why did it not say 36? Because the universe is accurate. And every time I've ever made some sort of a claim on the universe, and I would make a claim, but then I always would have this fallback position claim. You know the one? I always had the B plan. How come my A plan always had visions and aspects of my B plan? Why? Because it works with accuracy. I gave it my plan. Am I clear in my plan so that the universe can be clear in its response? Or am I giving it leeway for failure? Because I was taught you don't get everything you want. You get what you need. No, you don't. You're getting exactly what you put into the universe. If we can conceive only a little good, that's as much as we can experience. The best example I use is, what if I told you right now the Salton Sea was filled with a special liquid? And if you drank that liquid, every wrinkle and fat gram inside you would disappear. Men, hair would grow where we want it. Women, it wouldn't grow where you don't. You'd look the fountain of youth. The fountain of youth is in the Salton Sea. How many of you would get in that car and go, I'm out? And you drive like a mad person to the Salton Sea. Now, would you go with a thimble and go, here, I only need one shot for me? Or would you be like me and try to find a tanker truck and back it up? The universe is going to respond to you either way. So if you can only conceive a thimble full of good, I hope you like a thimble. But if you want the tanker truck, you better see a tanker truck. But if I told you it was down there, how would you go down? What would be your approach? Think about that. What is your approach to your health? A thimble of health? A thimble of a relationship? A thimble of creativity? A thimble of financial security? No. Be direct. That's how this works. Secret of life is this. Are you ready? That as high as we shall make our mark in mind and spirit, as high as I set my bar, so high shall be its outward manifestation in the material world. So my question for you is, when you take that paper home this month and you're working on this, what is your bar for yourself? What is your bar of expectation for the center? We're examining that ourselves. We want you to be accountable. We have to be accountable. Look at Rayvon up here, singing that. This amazing artist is singing up here. We talked about, what's your expectation? I sat down and said, what are you expecting? Where are you going? What are you going to do? You better have a plan, because everybody has great gifts to give, and you do too. And what is your expectation of the universe responding to your request so that you can manifest them on a greater level, higher expression, higher vibration, and be a leader in your life, not a follower? That to me is the challenge. To actually get in there and actually start creating this life we want to live, not a life we're just trying to eke by in some existence. So the higher the mark you set yourself, the higher the God is going to express by means of you, the more relationship you're going to be in that, because you're going to know this works. This is the science of mind. Experiment with this. It's a scientific experiment. It's a spiritual experience. Experiment with this stuff. Know that it works. And when you see that it works, 30,000 worked. It worked right to the level of my belief, right to the level of what I thought I was worth. It worked. It worked with my child. It's worked with every area of my life. I can point to every single thing that I've ever had. And I can point to you where it was an idea in my mind before it became manifested in my experience. Good things and not good things. It works. How it works? You keep working it. You've been working it your whole life. You probably just didn't know it. You didn't stumble into this experience. Your mind and your intentions created it. So be very specific when you do your work. Be very clear on what you want. Not what you need, what you want. So enjoy. Thank you, everybody.